Tesla, meantime, one of the only two positive NASDAQ 100 stocks today. But don't get too excited. Tesla is still one of the index's worst performers so far this week, down almost 12%. CEO Elon Musk dumping almost $3.6 billion worth of stock this week. And our next guest predicts more trouble ahead. Danny Moses of the Big Short fame is founder of Moses Ventures. He is shorting Tesla. Still, not enough for you.
Not enough yet. No, not enough yet.
What more is there here?
Well, it's still a $500 billion company, and I don't think that the fundamentals justify that valuation. And listen, if I was as good as trading stock as Elon Musk was, I wouldn't be sitting here. I'd be taking a vacation somewhere, because he has sold now $40 billion over the last 13 months as we move lower here. So.
Yeah, even if you put the short on when Elon Musk made the bid for Twitter, you would be in very good shape. I'm just wondering at this point, as you see the story unfold, what makes you so confident that there is more downside here? Is there something very concerning to you that's happening
So I think
here?
that a lot of the stock price has been about his brand, and we've seen that now get hit a little bit. And if you're a fundamental investor and you like Tesla, great. But I think still at this valuation, there's a lot of headwinds coming for the economy on a macro basis. Yes, they were early in EV. Yes, they were the best, or maybe still are the best, if you want to call it that. But a lot of competition's coming, and we're going into recession, it appears. So this is not immune from a normal economic cycle, and I still believe that on a fundamental basis, it's still very rich.
Yeah, just to be really clear, I mean, you didn't short the stock today, right? I mean, the stock's had like a big move here. You've been short. You've had a fundamental reason for the short. And I think that, as I've been talking to you over the course of this year, I mean, what's happened with Elon, it really is about him not being at Tesla. I mean, when you think about how much of that $500 billion market cap is encapsulated in his association with it, is the Twitter thing and some of the other stuff that's going on in and around it, is that a big part of it? Because if he is a big part of this valuation, and he's not likely to maybe have the same focus he's had in years past, is that part of it?
Yeah, he's running 3, 4, 5 companies, big companies, 3 very large companies at this point. And so there's a lot of, obviously, that he has to deal with. And if he's getting margin called, if that's the reason that he's been selling stock here, whether he's going to replace some of the debt, the unsecured debt, $3 billion that we heard about in the papers a couple weeks ago, we haven't seen a reason yet that he's sold over $7 billion worth of stock over the last couple weeks and months. So, that's on top of the $33 billion that he had done before. So it still remains to be seen. And I just think people, if you're a Tesla shareholder, and I have nothing against people being long it, you're getting frustrated here because his attention span is being compromised. And I think they want him to focus on the business, and maybe the business isn't growing like it used to. And that would be the reason to stay short. But to your point, Dan, I'm not adding here. Obviously, that's not a smart thing to do. It's down a lot, but put it in perspective. It's a 15-for-1 split is what this has gone through in the last, the 5-for-1 and the 3-for-1. This stock is still the equivalent of over $2,000 on an apples-to-apples basis from 4 or 5 years ago, from the time that 420 was the funding secured. So put that in perspective. And the last thing I'll say is, I think when stocks go down like this, that I don't believe trade on fundamentals. It makes you take a better look at what the fundamentals are. If it doesn't trade on that, what is the buying point? I don't know.
Right. And then you layer in on it, the question about just PEs in general in this sort of investing environment, Danny. So I'm wondering how you think about the markets now in light of what the Fed did yesterday and these, supposedly high growth stocks, or at least valued like high growth stocks.
It's very frustrating. I think people that watched the Fed yesterday and saw that they're not either seeing what we're seeing. But again, this is a Fed who said inflation was transitory, right? Now they're erring on the other side, I believe. But I think the noise of the Fed, whether it's 25 basis points, 50 or 75 more to go, I think we're going to shift, to your point, Melissa, in the new year on fundamentals of companies, because to me, that's going to move to the backdrop. Will there be a point where they stop? Yes. Will there be a point where they cut? Yes. Do I think they get over 5%? Not a chance in terms of Fed funds. So I think we'll have a lot of back and forth with that, but I think the shift is quickly moving to fundamentals, and that's why I still like the Tesla short.
I always ask you this. Are there any new shorts out there that you're excited about? Or are you more inclined to be long at this point?
I'm more inclined to be long and find good cash flowing companies, don't have a lot of debt on their balance sheet, can have pricing power in this type of environment. And there always are going to be those. And I tell people all the time, if you're looking at an ETF, stop with the ETFs and find an individual stock. If you look at the bank index in the XLF, do I want to own Bank of America, Wells Fargo? Maybe not. But is Goldman Sachs a great company that trades very well in this type of environment? Sure. So I think you need to be a stock picker in this environment, and it excites me that there's opportunities, especially on the long side, that I think are going to come.
Danny, always good to see you. Thank you for coming by. Danny Moses, a Big Short fame guy.
It's easy to see why Brad Pitt portrayed Danny Moses in The Big Chill. I mean, that's a handsome man right there.
He's blushing.
I'm blushing. Always nice guy. Appreciate it, buddy.
You brought back with the guest, by the way. Anyway, what do you think of trades?
I'm sorry. Did
No,
you,
look, Tesla
that
traded
me?
down.
I heard guys say big chill. I thought it was a different movie. So if I look at the chart of Tesla, you got to go back to November of 2020 to find support here. So I agree, it can go lower, but I feel as if every time we count Musk out, he pulls another rabbit out of the hat. So I wouldn't be buying it tomorrow, but maybe around 135, 140. I just think that what Mark Fields said the other night, that you can get a Tesla now in 6 days or order one and build one and get it in 30 days. I think that's a tailwind because he's cutting through supply chain issues that are hurting most other companies. So I'm not willing to say it's over for Tesla just yet.
Oh, let me just play devil's advocate for 1 second.
Okay.
Is that not a headwind that, wow, there's no line, you can just get one in 6 days?
Like no one wants one.
Yeah, I get it, but there was so much talk about, and I get it, we can go from a drought to a glut. That's the same thing that happened to semiconductors and everything else. But once, as Melissa used the analogy of retail, once people start to get back to spending again and realize, Chicken Little, the sky's not falling as quickly as we thought it was, they're going to want to make bigger purchases again, and Tesla seems to have the stock for them to buy.
All right, the only thing I want to say is we just spent a whole block talking about what high inventory has meant for the retail space. And this is a space that's been supply constrained for 2+ years or so. And we also saw Morgan Stanley bringing down their estimates for demand for EV in general. We know how important China is for Tesla right now. Europe's in a recession. High supply for these guys right now is an absolute disaster for this story, in my opinion. And I think you could probably overshoot that 140 level if that does prove to be the case anytime soon.
Brad, put aside, Guy, your quick take on where Tesla is.
We've been saying it's going to go to 150 for quite some time. It got down to 153.28 today. You had a huge volume day the other day. So you could get one of these bear market bounces in a name like we saw a few months ago. But Danny's spot on, and he's been spot on for a while. So I think if you do get that rally, you sell that sucker again.